morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are in the world. I'm Scott Center, World Trade Center in Savannah, and right behind me across the Atlantic Ocean is my good friend, the notorious EAW, my co-host here at Allison-Wright, and this is Centerpiece.
I didn't hear any of that, Scott, but I'll see you back in the meeting room.
Okay. Fix my hair up. All right, I'm back. I'm back in the newsroom now. And like I said a second ago, I'm Scott Center, and this is Centerpiece. And joining me from across the ocean is the notorious EAW Ed, Allison-Wright. Thank you for joining me again, Ed. And we're going to give you the highlights from our fantastic newsletter that the staff back in New York puts together for us. And since you're not opening as much as you should, we're going to bring it straight to you. Hey, Ed.
Hi, Scott. It's good to hear you. I couldn't hear you last time when I saw you from across the ocean. No, it's fantastic to be here. Thank you very much. And I'll raise you on your last newsletter, Centerpiece. I've got a pen here from World Trade Center Lisboa, and also a trusted notepad from Leeuwarden as well.
Well, those Leeuwarden people are very, very generous. So
Indeed.
good on them. So what we're here doing, we're going to spotlight some of the highlights from our newsletter. But we want to encourage you to go and read the whole thing, because there's a lot more that we're not going to touch on. And there's a lot that we are going to touch on that goes into more depth and gives you more information. And the link is right here below us. So just click on that if you hadn't seen the newsletter yet. Or also there, we're going to provide a link. It could be here, it could be here, I don't know where, but there's a link if you haven't seen our first Centerpiece that went over the entire year of 2023.
Yeah, and I must say, Scott, I was pleasantly surprised by the number of stories in this edition, because it was over a holiday season as well. It's really impressive. And what really struck me as well was how our organization stays in tune with all of the global trends that occur from the day-to-day basis around the world.
Well, Ed, have you heard of the World Investment Conference?
Not that familiar with it, Scott.
So it's a significant event, and it attracts policymakers, thought leaders, corporations, and investors, and more from around the world. And it was held in New Delhi in India this year. And we had 13 separate World Trade Centers from India attend this conference. And it's a very good kickoff for our Global Business Forum that's going to be in Bengaluru on starting on March 3rd and going the way to March 6th.
Well, that's a clever plug for our GBF, Scott. And then India is buzzing with economic activity. So, I mean, the newsletter, for instance, showcased the Indian handlooms industry impact with the World Trade Center Bhopal actively promoting its export potential. It was fantastic updates.
Well, it's really heartwarming to see our network having such a profound effect on the global economy. And these high-level conferences, like our Global Business Forum coming right up, and tackling these complex global issues. Really a big deal.
Yeah. Okay. So I think we're gonna roll around the world, aren't we? So how about we start with Europe? What's the deal with, for instance, Cyprus? The real estate industry in Cyprus is strong at the moment. You got some trend-setting patterns at both airports in Cyprus in terms of passenger numbers. Sounds like I'm going to pack my bags and go back.
Well, you're part of that success story, Ed. The European meeting held in Cyprus probably spurred a lot of this growth. Moran and Ghazi are fantastic hosts. They are the Scott and Ed of the Middle East.
Fantastic. And speaking of Europe, I found the article on World Trade Center Dublin's crisis PR workshop really interesting. I mean, crisis management, we've done a few presentations at the member forums if our viewers have been. And it's vital in any workplace, whether you're in politics, business, government, or the World Trade Center Association. Meanwhile, World Trade Center Met Saarbrücken continues to encourage its businesses to think globally and to be export ready for all opportunities. And meanwhile, World Trade Center Poitiers Futuroscope hosted their first after-work event in English, which is a really great way to network while learning a new language, one of many languages that are used within our World Trade Centers network.
Speaking of METS, you know, Ed, that METS is the only World Trade Center that is actually in two different countries, France and Germany.
In Europe, no? I think you've got Craig in Buffalo, Niagara in North America.
Okay. Well, Craig, how did you pull that off? Did Patricia teach you how to do that? Very good. Good on both of you. And speaking of Europe, what about Nicholas Beatty? There's no story there. He just said some kind words about us. So I figured I'd mention him in the newsletter.
He'll love that.
So let's move on to North America. Very proud to see what they're accomplishing in Las Vegas. The Wall Street Journal named the Las Vegas Convention Center one of the top 30 convention centers in the entire country. And I'm sure that is why the NFL has chosen Las Vegas for the Super Bowl next week. And you guys in Las Vegas, please give Taylor Swift my love. Thank you.
So I must admit, North American members have been really active, Scott, even in Savannah. And I even gather, as a result of that there's a new container ship service being planned between Savannah and West India in May this year. I know World Trade Center Miami is collaborating with the transport logistics industry Messe München, which is Munich to some of us. And the first edition of Carga Logistica Americas Summit is scheduled for October later this year in Panama City, another city that's home to a World Trade Center in our network, focusing on the Latin American market.
As a matter of fact, right after the Global Business Forum, I am headed to Panama City. Remy, get ready for me. I'm headed to a wedding there. And I can't help but mention in World Trade Center, Delaware, it's a week after Valentine's Day, they're having, listen to this, a taste of chocolate and beer from around the world. And that's really good business. No surprise there that they would be emphasizing sweets, because Carla Stone is just so sweet from World Trade Center, Delaware.
That sounds very tempting. I'll have to try and arrange to go over myself. And
come on.
Finally, still in North America, let's focus on some news from our headquarters. Let's talk partnerships. So our network collaborates with a wide array of global partners, from UFI to the International Trade Center to the WTO and many more. It's a really impressive group of organizations.
That's very well done, Ed. You're exactly right. And by looking through the newsletter, it struck me how much World Trade Center excels in thought leadership, connecting members globally and effortlessly reaching influential people in the entire globe. We're just one phone call, 1 degree of separation from almost any leader in this world.
Well, plus obviously the newsletter is a goldmine of data. So from a global economic growth prospect to trade and development trends, it's providing a valuable resource for not only our members, but anyone looking to be part of our network in the future.
And Ed, we can't pass this newsletter up without mentioning the fantastic Walter Letye, who we lost this year. He was with World Trade Center Taipei. He was an inspirational, much beloved figure. He planned a fantastic General Assembly that got canceled because of the global pandemic, but he's definitely left a hole in our hearts. Great man.
Indeed, Scott, I echo your thoughts, and we should raise a glass to Walter. He was fantastic for the network. And moving to some more news, which Walter would, I'm sure, be proud of. Our newsletter also introduces some new members. So World Trade Center AMTZ, which is a medical technology zone in India. And that's a testament to the WTCA's willingness, I think, to expand into different business models. And World Trade Center Malaga's license transfer at the end of last year.
Malaga? Isn't that part of your empire, Ed? I think you've got a growing empire. I think instead of Ed Allison-Wright, from now it should be Emperor Allison-Wright. I think that fits perfectly.
Well, look, our partners in Spain, in our sister company in Spain, are delighted with Malaga being added to our family of World Trade Centers. And I can promise you, you'll be seeing a lot more from Malaga within the network this year, including our involvement in the Iberic meeting, which took place just a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, that was a fantastic event y'all had. Congratulations on that, and hopefully hear more about that in the next newsletter. And want to conclude by urging everybody within the sound of my voice to fill out their info share. It is a very powerful tool that makes our network much, much stronger, but it only works if everybody or almost everybody fills it out. You have all the data right at your fingertips to make you much more efficient in your operations of your World Trade Center.
And it takes 5 minutes, Scott. It's just 5 minutes.
Well, great. All right. Well, thank you for giving us your time. Good night, good evening, good morning, depending on where on the world you are. And I look very forward to seeing everybody in India in just a couple of weeks. Bye, Ed.
See you in India. Thank you.